If you want to be rich, you got to fake it till you make it. That's what my first mentor told me, and he was so wrong. My name's Gabriel Ryan, and I help entrepreneurs grow their businesses by designing and installing the most important system in their business, the one that gets them leads and clients. Let's dive in so you can grow your business. It seems like these days the conversation around imposter syndrome is all over the place. In fact, it almost feels like a badge of honor for people to say that they have imposter syndrome. But what I want to break down is what actually is imposter syndrome, what's the good, the bad, and the ugly, and where does it cross the line so much that it'll actually destroy your business. And the thing is, I know this all too well because I myself just had to take an 18-month complete detox from social media. And here's the thing. I can speak from experience because I know all too well how imposter syndrome can be devastating, not just to your business, but to your life as well. In fact, a few years ago, I moved from Oregon to Las Vegas to Oregon to Nashville in less than 90 days. And no, that was not the plan, especially being married as a husband and a father of 4 beautiful children and an amazing wife. At the end of that 90-day run, I really had to look myself in the mirror and say, what in the heck just happened? And how do I never do this again? And so much of what had happened was based on this idea of faking it until you make it. You know, you have experts out there who are coaching and telling you to look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that you're a millionaire. And while yes, I'm all about casting a clear vision of where you want to be and where you are headed, you have to be incredibly careful about the stories that you tell yourself. Because here's the thing about stories. There's a couple of conversations that are going on at every point in time. First off, there's the conversation that is happening out here, the one between you and me right now. I am sharing with you. If you respond in the comments or like or share or shoot me a DM over on social, there is that conversation. But what I'm more interested in, what's more important, is the conversation in here. The one internally about the conversation out here. And the subtle drain on your confidence and your effectiveness as an entrepreneur, maybe like me as a husband and a father as well, comes into play when the story that you're telling out in public does not match with the one that's going on internally. Did you know that you have up to 60,000 thoughts a day swirling around in your brain? And of those, 90% of them are repeat thoughts, the same thoughts that you had yesterday. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the story inside your head. The repetitive thoughts, whether you are aware of them or not. So when you're telling the world on social media that you're successful, when you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're reading off those affirmations, but internally, you know that it doesn't match up with the work that you're doing in your business or the commitments that you've made to yourself, that lack of alignment will slowly start to eat away at you. You know, you put a story out there on social media that might be a little bit embellished, or you treat your spouse or your children some way differently in private than you do in public. These are all the things that when a coach or a mentor or someone tells you that you need to fake it till you make it, you need to pretend as if that you're actually probably doing more harm than good. But there is a positive side to imposter syndrome, and that's something I call AA. No, not that AA, but awareness and alignment. Because here's the thing. If you are aware of your imposter syndrome, that just tells me that you're not a narcissist. And if something is out of alignment, that awareness is the thing that is going to guide you to tell you exactly what you need to do. How long have you been telling yourself that you need to get back into the gym or back into that fitness routine? If you tell yourself that your health is important, that you're going to do that, and then you don't actually take action on it, again, that's slowly eroding away at your confidence. But if you can bring those things into alignment, where you tell yourself the story that your health and fitness is important to you, and then this afternoon you put on your tennis shoes and go to the gym, that builds confidence. So let your imposter syndrome be your compass, be your guide to where maybe you're out of alignment. You know, I was just doing some studying and some reading the other day, and it was really interesting to me, this idea of doubt and faith. You know, whether you're talking about the spiritual sense or not, I personally believe that all things are connected. But regardless of what comes up for you when I use the word faith, if we just define the word faith, it means to believe in something that is unseen. And you might think that the opposite of faith would be doubt, to not believe in something that is unseen. And I think you and I can both agree that the best entrepreneurs out there are the ones that have faith. They can see the future before it ever happens. As John Maxwell says, they can see more and they can see before. They can see more, they can see a bigger future. You can cast a bigger vision. In fact, if you're leading a team, your goals and vision have to be big, that they encompass and they fill everyone on your team. so that everybody on your team can hit their goals and dreams if you hit yours. So the best leaders and entrepreneurs can see more. They can also see before. They can take a look at trends like AI and see how to implement that into their business when their competitors might be scared or just dipping in their toe. So it's critically important for us as entrepreneurs to have faith, to be able to see the future, to be able to cast a vision and then go after it with tenacity. And you might think that if you have any sort of doubt about your ability to actually go get that future, to make that thing happen in your business, to land that big account, to grow your revenue, to grow your team, to finally get somebody into your business that can do the work as good or maybe even better than you can, that requires faith. But here's the thing about faith. It actually requires doubt. And if you're faking it until you make it, you're neutering doubt altogether. It's kind of like this. I've got 4 kids and I tell them all the time the importance of being brave and what it means to be brave. You know, the other day, my 14-year-old son walked in the locker room at his school and some kids were bullying one of his friends. I wish I could say that this was a one-off situation, but we had heard rumors and stories of this happening kind of a number of times. And I asked my son what he did about it. And I was so proud of him to hear that he stepped in, told those guys they needed to stop, and why what they were doing was not cool. And then I asked him how he felt about it, how he felt before he took that action. And he said he was nervous, he was worried what they would do to him or what would happen after the fact. And it was so incredible because I was able to share with him, being brave was not him not being afraid, but him being afraid and actually sticking up for his friend anyway was actually the thing that made him brave. So being brave is not about not being afraid, it's actually about being afraid and doing what's right anyway. And the same is true in your business. Having faith that you can actually accomplish what you're setting out to accomplish while you have the doubt. It's not having doubt, but it's having doubt and acting every single day on your vision regardless. So why do we all do this? Why do we put on this show and adopt this idea of fake it till you make it? Well, first off, simply, you've just been told to explicitly, experts and leaders out there and all these online gurus are telling you that you need to fake it until you make it. And implicitly, just by the TikToks and videos and screens that we're looking at every single day, people putting on their best foot forward. But don't compare somebody else's best to your worst. And that's very easy to do when you're scrolling social media. Another reason why we do this is because the stress and pressure to perform. Most people think when they feel that stress, when they feel that anxiety, when you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, oh my gosh, I got to do the thing, or feeling like you're behind, they see that as a sign of failure, as a sign of, oh man, I'm not making it, I'm not cutting the mustard, I'm not winning, I'm failing. But here's the thing, it's just like fear and bravery. It's just like doubt and faith. That stress, that pressure is actually the thing that's making you stronger. In fact, our business, we don't call them problems, we call them puzzles. And we love solving puzzles because we realize the bigger the puzzle we solve, the bigger the problem we solve, the bigger the impact that we have, which turns into, in business, the bottom line, money. Back in the 1900s, when I was in school and a young lad, one of my favorite artists was Notorious B.I.G. And he has a song where he talks about mo money, mo problems. And he was talking about this idea that the more money that came into his life, the more problems that showed up. And I think what he should have actually done is flip that around. More problems equals more money. Because that's what we get to do in business. If we solve more problems, if we solve bigger puzzles, that actually turns into more money. People will pay you to help solve their problems. So the stress, the pressure, the problems, the very things that might cause most to go out there and try to fake it until they make it should be the very thing that you actually lean into and revel in because you realize that's the thing that's going to help you grow personally and help you grow your business. Because here's the thing, your brain is a muscle. And if you want to grow it, which is required to be a better leader, to be a better entrepreneur, you got to put it through the stress test. Solve bigger problems, make more money. Because there's enough people out there that are faking it, that are just trying to copy somebody else. It's a concept that exists because so many businesses have tried to replicate exactly what Bill Gates did, and none of them have succeeded, not one. When IBM and Bill Gates did their big deal, Gates had nothing to offer that he had created or owned, but he had the connection with IBM and he had the confidence. And what he did with that was he went out and bought an operating system from somebody else for pittance and leveraged that into a massive deal with IBM that made him one of the richest men in the world. And where that shows up today in business and in the marketplace are entrepreneurs, really hustlers out there trying to negotiate deals without any assets to back them up. But here's the thing that Bill Gates did have. He had the confidence and he had the connections. He had the know-how to put the deal together. From the outside, it looked like a guy that had nothing that was able to sell air. And if you try to copy and paste that, that's what you're gonna end up with, air. Or potentially even worse, damage your reputation. And again, if you're out there doing a deal like Gates and that story that's happening out there in the marketplace doesn't match up with the one internally, you're gonna self-sabotage. So let's not do that. So how did I overcome the stigma? How did I conquer my imposter syndrome, or better yet, use it as a compass to grow? The answer is probably so simple, you're gonna think that it's too easy. But here's the thing, most people don't do this. And if you do, you will instantly separate yourself from everyone else in the market. Your family will notice a difference, your colleagues, your partners, your clients, your team, if you literally just do this one thing. It involves a very specific set of questions and a very specific practice that you engage in on a regular basis. I do it every single morning in that chair just off screen over there, and it's simply this. I pause in the quiet of the morning and I ask myself to examine the 60,000 thoughts that I had the day before, all the ones that are swirling around in my brain in that very moment. And I simply ask myself, what do I believe? And here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna ask yourself that question. And if you're truly curious, and still a thought will pop up. Something like, they're gonna figure me out, or I need to hurry and get this project done before tomorrow or else everything's gonna fall apart. Or I'm upset that my team member isn't giving me their all. Whatever the thought is, you just need to pay attention to it. Bringing your awareness to that thought is the most important thing that you can do. Because as soon as you do that, you can have a conversation with it, a conversation with yourself. Because where imposter syndrome can wreck your life and your business is when the conversation out here does not match up with the conversation that's going on in here. And so the best way to bring those two things in sync is to pay attention to the conversation that's happening in here. One of my favorite books on the subject is by a woman named Byron Katie called The Work. Highly recommend, check it out. It'll change your life like it did mine. But let me give you the first question that Byron Katie gives you in that book. You've drawn your awareness to that thought, that belief, and the very first question that you need to ask yourself is that true? And you might find yourself battling back and forth a little bit. Yes, my employee's not giving me their all. The client is gonna find me out. I'm not gonna be able to make payroll. Whatever the thought is it true? Follow that thread, and I think what you'll discover is that it's probably not. In fact, if you ask yourself, is it absolutely true? It's probably not. And that is where the work is. To lean in, to sync up the conversation that's going on out here and the one that's going on in here. Do that, and everything will change. It did for me after leading my family through absolute chaos when we made that move from Oregon to Vegas to Oregon to Nashville. Now years later, my family is thriving. I've got an incredible business partner, and an awesome team, wonderful clients that I get to serve each and every day. And believe me, I'm still on the path just like you are. As my mentor likes to say, new levels, new devils. Every single day, there's a new thought, a new belief, a new story that pops up, and I've just got to get curious about it. So here's the thing. I know this one was a little bit different, but this honestly is probably one of the most important messages that I could share. And if you're still watching this video here, then you are my people. And I would ask that you smash the like button, make sure to subscribe so you get the rest of our videos. And then in the link below, in the description below, there's a link to join my newsletter. Every single week, I bring my best trainings, playbooks, and strategies, and I want to share them all with you. I'm a big believer that my marketing should serve more people than my product ever will. And so take all my best stuff and use it in your life and business. Share in the comments what you like most and how you're using it. And let's go out there and win together. All right, we'll see you in the next video.